Network. It is Friday, April 17th, and I will begin as I have for the last several weeks. You are in Q2. 3 months are gone, 3.5 months are gone. And if you are not 3.5 months worth on your way to hitting your financial goal for 2026, you better get moving now. You've still got plenty of time to pull it out, but now is the time to get busy, because you don't want to call somebody like me in November and December and say, hey, Jeff, I'm dying over here. I'm not going to hit my goal. What do I do? My answer is going to be, you should have called me in April. So get busy now. With that, if you've joined us before, you know I'm a sales coach and trainer. I work with individuals and organizations all over the world to help them increase their sales. And if you have joined us before, you know that every Friday at 10 a.m., I either do a live interview with somebody who can add value to the profession of sales, or a live training, and today is no exception. Today's guest is the agency killer. He finds clients and builds systems for people that don't want to be marketers. And boy, oh boy, am I talking to the right guy, because I don't want to be a marketer. I just want to be a sales guy, because that's what I am. Please welcome today's guest, Jack Austin. Hey, Jack, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jeff. I'm glad to be here, man. I've been looking forward to this one.
As have I. Hey, Jack, before we get going with the 1,000,001 questions I have for you, could you maybe give us the 1 to 2 minute version of your background? What brought you up to doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So I spent most of my 20s in the UK in the cold and wet in a corporate office working for Boots, which is Walgreens Boots. So you'll know Walgreens on that side of the pond. And I basically did all kinds of stuff while I was there. I was in project management, sales, marketing, like you name it. And I decided at the end of my 20s that I was a bit sick and tired of the corporate world. So I came to Vietnam for a short break. It was supposed to be 6 months. And then when I got here, like, it was beautiful weather, everything was cheap and fun, and beautiful women. So I met my wife and I never went home. And from there, it's like, okay, I need to figure out what I can do, because there's no corporate work out here. So I spent a bit of time English teaching, and then I got into content and content writing. I built an agency up to 50 people. I lost that agency when AI came along, and I spent most of my time not building pipeline. So I decided to go out alone and basically become a one-man band. And I did coaching consulting for the last couple of years, and recently jumped back into the agency world, because now we have AI agents. So I can run an agency that's like my 40-person strong one, but with just me and the bots. So yeah, that's my story.
Gotcha. Perfect. So in the promotion for this, I promised people we were going to show people how to use LinkedIn the right way. Excuse me. Allergy season. You say that people who build a system around who they actually are, they stop chasing clients, which is what most people are doing, what most salespeople are, whether they're professional or accidental. They're chasing all day long, chasing. Don't salespeople always need to find new prospects?
It's a good question. I think it's a two-parted question. So there's a difference, I would say, between finding prospects and chasing people, right? So of course, I use LinkedIn. That's my way of meeting new people, and I send outreach messages to those people. But when I say chasing, I mean in that inbox, having long conversations, trying to qualify, trying to get them onto like a call, trying to get them through that call and then into, whatever two-part process you've got to then make the close. I mean all of that stuff, really, when I say not chasing and being yourself. And the other side of it, so to answer the first part of the question, is we see LinkedIn right now as a very sort of bland, safe space. Like if you scroll your feed, you will see a lot of posts that don't really have any insight. You'll see people posting steps and tips and all of these kind of things, which frankly you can get from ChatGPT, and it's personalized to you and what you do. There's no individuality in a lot of people's stuff, and they treat content as something they just do because they have to, because someone told them if they post 5 days a week, eventually they'll get clients, right? Whereas if you're brave enough to have an opinion and go on there and say, hey, this is what I really think, these are the things that irritate me, these are my enemies, these are the hills that I die on, being that individual means that people will reach out to you, you start getting more inbound as well. So I do both. I do obviously prospect. I think that people who on the other side are selling, hey, just do content, just build an email list. You're never going to build an email list if you don't do outreach in 2026, right? It's just not possible. The internet is so full of people now posting all the time that if you don't go and actively start conversations with people, then you're not going to get anywhere, you know?
So what's the best way to build a list like that if it's not through posting?
Yeah. great question. The way I do it is I provide value to build rather than asking people for things. So the standard approach to outreach is you find people that are your target market. I don't believe in target market either, but we'll get to that later. You basically send them a connection request, and then you find something that you can either ask a question about, or you can ask them to get on a call for networking. And you notice the key about those two things: ask them a question, ask them about something you noticed, ask them about what they do and make a relevant point. All of these things are like an ask, right? You're turning up to someone you've never met, you're going into their inbox and you're asking them for stuff. The first thing you do, it's like knocking on some random person's door and with a bowl in your hand, like, can you give me £1 or whatever? Like, we're all busy. I don't necessarily want to have to explain what I do and how I do it to some person. And I know most of the time, even if they are genuine, it's going to end in them trying to twist it into a sale, right? Into some way.
It's like the ones I get. Hey, Jeff, thanks for connecting. What's your biggest business challenge right now? I'm like, I don't know you. Why am I telling you my business challenges? There's no relationship here. And like you, I know that as soon as I tell them if I have a business challenge, I help people fix that. I hate that.
Exactly. And everybody's sick and tired of it. So even if you go and genuinely try and network with people, there's still people just know what's coming, right? So I know because I did it and I was successful at it. Like, if I go back a year, that was exactly what I did. I find people's profiles, I figure out an interesting question, I try and be at least a bit different to start the conversation, and then I slowly qualify towards a 15-minute call, right? And I've done it. I've sold high ticket that way, and I know it works, but it's also soul destroying and exhausting, and it doesn't compound. So what I now do is I will go to them with an offer of something of value that costs nothing. So what I have right now is one tool, which is the content wizard, where basically that you can go and put in your post for free, and it goes and looks at all of my copywriting expertise, the principles I follow, and also the rules that I've picked up about LinkedIn and being authentic with your voice, and it gives them feedback on that. So then every single day they're using it, they're getting value, but they're also seeing my branding, my name. And in return for them signing up, they get put onto my email list. So then they get my welcome sequence, which tells people what I'm about. And then they get a daily email from me from that point onwards.
So you've created some type of an app where they can go in and use it for free. And that's what you're doing. You're reaching out to connect. And then you say, hey, here's a gift for you. Or what is it? What is that? Really what it is in that message where you're making that offer?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and it's as simple. So I don't even do anything with the messages. It's as simple as just like, hey, I've got this tool. It's what I use when I'm grading my posts before I post them. Do you want me to give you access? And people either say yes, or they say no, or they don't reply. So, and it's easy. I get about 18% of all of the people that I ever reach out to that accept my connection request joining my email list.
Interesting. So you're not sending the link to the app to everybody, only the people who say, sure, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I believe in permission-based outreach as well. So for me, it's like I don't just go and spam loads of people with like the message. I know I've got InMail, obviously, on Sales Navigator. I could go in there and send InMails. But what's the feeling you get when you see an InMail pop in your inbox?
What do they want to sell me now?
And normally it's like a list of like 750 services that they're apparently experts in, you know, and they want to help you with all of them. And yeah, so I don't bother with it. I feel like if somebody has accepted my connection request, that is them opening the door to me having, you know, sending them this message. Because LinkedIn is a business. I mean, people do get upset still occasionally, but LinkedIn is a business platform, right? Why did you accept my connection request if I can't message you with something? You know, and you usually find the people that get angry and pissed off about stuff, they're usually the ones that probably aren't making much anyway. Because if you've got a poor attitude to commerce and you're in business, I can tell you how well you're probably doing just by the way you react to me.
And they weren't going to be your type of prospect anyways if they're doing that. That's not somebody who you want to do business with. But I like that you're asking them first. My thinking would have been, thanks for connecting. Here's a link to an app. It's a free gift. There's no obligation. Enjoy it. Here's what I use it for, blah, blah, blah. But I like that you're saying, would you like it? Because when somebody says yes, not only are they giving you permission, but I'd say that's got to be a more qualified person. There's obviously some interest there.
Yeah. And there's a second part to it as well. So one, there's the interest, but two, people are busy, right? You imagine sometimes, like, if I send you a link to an app, you might think it's cool. But at that point, you've just got the link to the app. If you're like sat on the toilet or like halfway through cooking lunch or just getting in the car and you see the message, you might think, oh, that's a cool app. I'll try that later. And then you forget about it. Right. So you're like, oh, you move on. You've got another 10 messages, other things to do. By me asking them and then replying, I then get their email from them and I put it into the app myself. So there's no opportunity for them to forget. Right. Like they're giving me the email as well. So it's like they've agreed. There's a psychology behind it, right? If you've read Influence by Cialdini, it's like, of course you have, right? A man of your knowledge and experience. It's like, it's one of those things where if you put someone through that, you're asking them to do something for you. So there's already a connection there, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I got you. If I accepted your connection request and you just sent me a link to something and said, here's a free gift, I might not even click on it because I don't know. I don't really know you yet. And are you sending me something that's going to screw up my computer? So I mean, you could still do that after you ask permission, but I think there's a better chance. I like that. I want to come back to something you mentioned before because I've never heard that before. You don't believe in target market. Why not?
Because I believe that I attract the people that resonate with me and my message and who I am. Like I don't sell to people I don't know or that don't know me. The first line on my about section is that I don't make offers to people who don't know who I am. And I've been asked before, hey, tell me what your offers are. And I say, go and join my email list, find out what I'm about, or get on a virtual coffee. We can chat about it. So for me, like, and my specific business as well, let me be clear. If you're running ads, if you're already scaling, then of course you need to target people. You can't just go and like splash ads all over the place and whatever else. But for me, I build client acquisition engines for expert-led businesses, for anyone that's a personal brand, basically. So that is such a wide range of people. Like I don't need to be just coaches, just consultants, just this, just that, right? And I think for someone like yourself, right, you're a sales confidence and you know all the stuff about sales and coaching and the group programs that you do from that angle. You can help various types of business owners. You don't need to go and niche your content to that direction. And people now, they buy because they hear you talking about the problems that they have, but they also want to feel like you're the kind of person they want to spend time with. Like it's not now, oh, just solve this problem for me like it used to be. There's so much choice, there's so much variety on the market that people want to feel part of something as well.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go ahead.
And that's like my whole philosophy of how I do my content and what I share, what I put in my email list. Like, you know, I can give you an example. This morning, I got an email from a subscriber and he said, this email was brilliant. It's the best one yet. I really love how you share what you're doing, what you're working on, but you also weave in how you can help us. And then he said, however, I don't know if I like getting the daily email because it's a lot in my inbox. But either I guess I'll unsubscribe at some point or I'll become your customer, like you said in your initial email. And it's like, so by being totally honest and transparent, I think there's a refreshingness about it because there's so much BS out there.
Yeah, you know? I'm on your email list, and that's one of the things I like best. It's there's no bullshit in there. You're saying, here's who I am. You like it, great. You don't like it, go F yourself. And I believe that's kind of my attitude in life too, but I'm not that direct on LinkedIn. And I really like how you do that. There's no bullshit. And I'm with you. I want the clients that want me, and I don't want the clients that don't want me. I'm not here to play games. And am I correct, Jeff? You don't sell programs or things that they have to figure out. You actually do it for them, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was in the world of coaching, and I do still have a community where I do like weekly sessions.
Is that the Authentic Navigators?
That's the Authentic Navigators, yeah, but I'm about to relaunch that so it's a consulting and people can just go and plug in my tools, and once a week we can talk about what I'm working on and how they can install stuff, what I'm doing with agents and all of that stuff. But yeah, I realized that we live in a world where people just want it done for them, right? They and it used to be prohibitively expensive because to do it for somebody, you needed to have a team of 20 people or whatever to deliver, a website, to deliver an interactive lead magnet like the one I mentioned earlier, the app. Effectively, you'd need like all of these different people to do it. So you'd be going to someone and telling them, hey, you got to give me 15K a month to do this. And most personal brand-led businesses just don't have that amount of money available. But because things have changed, I can now do the whole thing. So the last offer that I just launched, the Agency Killer, is literally your landing page, your full email setup, your welcome sequence, your lead magnet, 3 weeks worth of emails, all of the leads for LinkedIn, the messages that you send to them for 4 weeks. It's like the whole thing. You just plug it in and go. That's it, basically. Delivered, done. 7 days it takes me to do. Wow. Hence the Agency Killer, right? Like, because if you're an agency, you should be shaking in your boots when there's not just me coming along with AI agents. There's many, many more people doing it,
And you're able to do all that now. What took 20 people before on your own because you're using AI.
Absolutely. Yeah. With the only caveat of I still have virtual assistants because of LinkedIn's rules of automation, right? Like I know, things like sending the messages to people that there are tools out there on the market, but I don't recommend them because I've had clients insist on using them and then lose their accounts. And then there are other things, like I don't use AI to comment on people's posts. I do it myself because I believe that it's front facing and there's so much value in doing it well, so but I use AI for all of that other building work and website work and all of that stuff, and it is really, really powerful now what you can do. So then if you are a coach or a consultant or an expert led business, you can just go and coach, consult, do the thing you do and not worry about the marketing and the client acquisition process.
Yeah, that was always the trade-off before. Gee, I want it done for me, but I don't have $30,000. So let's do it together. And, I'll pay you $15,000 and I'll do some and you'll do some. But, if you don't have the expertise and you don't have the time, then you can't get it done. So having a DIY done for you that's affordable is a score and a half. I wanted to ask you about something else. You posted about a month ago and as soon as I read, I'm like, what? Got a little cognitive dissonance going. You said that sales calls burn trust. What does that mean?
Yeah. So again, this is something that was based on my own experience. And I usually create content and post things based on my own experience. But I used to do the whole, right, I'm going to get you on a 15-minute call. And in that 15-minute call, I do the classic, oh, hey, I'm Jack. This is what I do. I'm going to decide in this 15 minutes if I can help you. And if I can't help you, I'll, refer you to somebody who can, like that old sort of vibe. And then I would do the, where are you at now? Where do you want to be? What's holding you back? And then I'd give them some homework to do, like a little commitment. Go and do this. We're going to have a 1-hour call next. And in that 1-hour call, I'm going to give you tons of information so that you can go and either fix the problem with me, or you can go and, there's value there anyway, basically. And then in the 1-hour call, we would get super vulnerable and really dig into like what was causing their problem. So it would usually get, semi-emotional for them. They'd have to admit usually that there were things that needed to change, because if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And it was like a really not semi-uncomfortable experience. And as you know, sales is about making people uncomfortable in some way, not always, because when you make people uncomfortable, they want to change, right? Sure. People don't want to change if they're not uncomfortable. So you have to bring them to the reality of, hey, if you're just sending 5 DMs a day and posting every day, you're never going to get sales. It's not going to work. You're going to have to do this. And we need to face into what does it mean if you don't do anything about this, so they can see the gap, right? And I just found that once I'd had an unsuccessful call, so they decided not to move forward or whatever else, if I then reached out to them a month later or 2 months later with some other piece of information or just to check in, ghost, silence. And I figured it's because it could just be that I was awful at it, but I did close people. But I figured that it's because they've been so open and so vulnerable about their world, and then they've gone, no, I'm not going to do it. That when you reach out again, it's almost like meeting someone that you had a one night stand with. Do you know what I mean? It's like this awkwardness of like, oh, we did the thing, but we didn't do the thing. I'd just rather forget about this person now, you know? And that's what I meant by that post.
I gotcha. Okay. And I was on your website and I saw something, and I like the sound of it, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. I mean, I have an idea, but what is authentic positioning? I love the word authentic. What is authentic positioning?
So authentic positioning is, as it says on the tin, right? Positioning yourself as you, as the person you are. Like, I think what everybody does, or not everybody, because that's a wild generalization, but if you go and scroll the LinkedIn feed, it looks like everybody's making 50 grand a month.
Oh no, way more than that. Coaches are making $1 million a month. People in my industry, $1 million a month. And I'm like, really? I'm pretty good at this, and I'm not making $1 million a month.
Right, exactly. So people are like putting this image out of there. And I think what happens, because I did the same thing, my tagline a year ago was, I'll help you get to $10,000 a month on LinkedIn, the classic like lead gen bro thing to say, because I thought that I needed to be this person that was buyable, and that like, so I tried to engineer a version of me that I thought was the most buyable version, that people would come along and go, oh, that's Jack, but super buyable, right? And it does work, but it means you attract people that you don't necessarily resonate with. You do attract some people you do resonate with as well, but it just, the whole thing feels icky. And then even when you do make sales, it's like you feel, you don't even get to celebrate because you feel a bit like a fraud. It's like, oh, I just closed this $10,000 deal. That should feel awesome. And then you're like, but I had to be this. So when I say authentic positioning, it's like, it's almost when I decided, and I'm not going to swear, but I'm going to pretend I'm on the BBC, right? But when I decided, it was like a weight was lifted. It's like the whole reason I started my own business and left corporate and didn't want to work for someone else is because I didn't want to dance to someone else's tune. Yeah, I've just created a business that dances to other people's tunes, because I think that that's what people want to buy. And I think it's common with beginners and new people, new businesses, because they don't know what works. And they're like terrified of looking like they don't know what works. Yeah. So they fake it. And we have all this fake it till you make it, all of this stuff. But it's much more endearing, and it works much better to just be yourself. And also it feels much better. Right. So when I say authentic positioning, that's what I mean. It's like, I got it. The F it approach.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I have a dear friend who has an app that creates your responses to posts for you and your posts and does all kinds of it. And it's way cool. Really excellent. Lots of people love it. And I like it too. I don't use it, but I do like it. But this gentleman, he's an expert on LinkedIn and an expert at AI. And he often posts pictures of himself that are real, and often posts pictures that are clearly AI. And I mentioned it to him the other day. I don't like the AI pictures. It's like I actually used AI to take, I put in a picture of me that kind of looks like this, black shirt and everything. I said, make this look better and make it look great. It came out with this great picture, and I actually used it as my profile picture on AI on LinkedIn for a day. And then I looked at it, I said, you know what? I don't look like that. I have bags under my eyes. I have wrinkles. I have gray hair, and I'm not Brad Pitt. And for me, at my age and my level of success, I'm like, if you don't like me the way I am, I'm not interested. So I think what I'm saying is I'm into authentic positioning. I want to be me. I don't want to deal with people who think I'm something else. If you like wisecracking Jews from New York, I'm your guy. If not, I'm not, and that's okay. I don't need everybody to love me. I'm looking to attract the right audience. Like, is that what you're talking about here?
Totally, yeah. And I agree with you totally on the AI photography thing. I used to use them all the time. My profile picture was one for ages because I just didn't have a chance to take a decent photo for ages. And then I was like, well, people are attracted to a version of you that's not real. So I use AI now if I'm making an obvious meme. like putting
Yeah.
my face on some crazy meme or something.
Yes.
But the rest of the time, I think it's like video, right? You know, we have these video AI avatars. Why? Just don't. What's the point? You know, you might as well like be yourself. If you really don't like to do video, don't do video. Like, this is the other thing, is we're all told, oh, you have to do this, you have to do content, you have to do. No, like, if you really don't like doing it that way, just do it your own way. It's like you're gonna get much. That's why my banners like have the conviction to do it your way, right? Because it's like, just believe it and go and do it, and who cares, right? Like, if it works, then it's even better because you've built it as you know.
Yeah. Zoom was sending me information recently. Oh, create your Zoom avatar, and of course, like, shiny object. Okay, let's click on that and see what it does. And I did it for about 5 minutes. I said, wait a minute, what am I doing? Why do I need an avatar? I'm me. So I'm with you 1,000,000%. Things change quickly, especially in the world of AI, for sure. But LinkedIn also seems to be changing by the minute. There's a new thing. Well, depends on which expert you listen to, and everybody's got an opinion. But the algorithm's doing this now, and this is getting that. What's one thing that maybe worked 3 years ago that is not working today?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I agree with you. The whole algorithm thing is like, yeah. Anyway, that's probably a whole other topic we could go in ourselves. What worked 3 years ago that doesn't work today is just posting ChatGPT generated content with no original thought behind it. Like, you could just get away with it because it was so new. So many people weren't using it yet. Yeah. Nobody could recognize the patterns. Like, you could get away with it, and it meant you could scale content and be able to get leads from being more visible than everybody else. But those days are long gone. And in fact, now I would argue that it damages your brand more than it improves it, And that's not saying that not to use AI, because every post I ever put out is AI generated, but there's a process behind it. I probably still take 20 minutes to write a post, sometimes longer. Still, really? Even with AI.
It doesn't take me that long, but it's not. I can tell you this for sure. I also use AI to generate my posts, but I never post what AI spit out. There's always editing done, because every time I use it, it gets better and better and closer to me, but it's not me. And like you, I want to be authentic me. Somebody asked me recently, are you using AI to generate your posts? I'm like, I do, but that's just the basis. It's still got to be Jeff, because like you, I want an audience that wants Jeff, not what AI has created about Jeff. Because it's like when you meet a woman and you start dating and you're on your best behavior, and then once you get comfortable, she comes over and you feel comfortable farting in front of her, or like that. And that's the point I want to be at. I want to fart in front of my clients.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, it's one of the things. It's like that could be on a t-shirt. We want to fart in front of our clients, but like some people are so ashamed of it. It's incredible. I don't know how many times I've heard people say to me, oh no, I just use AI to proofread. No, you don't. I can see like constant tells all over your content that this pattern, it's not A, it's B, it's the anaphoras, the not A, not B, just C. Like, all of these things, I can see it all over your stuff. Like, why lie about it? And can you imagine that, being ashamed of using AI so much? Yeah. That you just tell, I just use it to proofread.
My favorite is the M dash.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to do that on my keyboard. Anytime I see a post with an M dash, I'm like, oh, you didn't write that.
And people say, oh, I always use an M dash. I always use the dash, because exactly what you said, I know where the dash is. It's next to my 0 on my keyboard, right? I don't know. My keyboard's Vietnamese. I don't even think I have an M dash on it. To be honest with you,
there's no M dash on mine, at least not that I know of. I actually was reading a book, a real book, and there were M dashes in that. I said, did this guy write it with AI? Apparently authors use M dashes for some reason, but not you and me, that's for sure. What's, in your opinion, what's the difference between conviction and confidence in business?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. And the conviction thing came out for me because it was my word of this year, right? This was what I was going to do this year. And I always have like a one-word intention for the year. Well, I say always, for the last few years I have. And this year, after doing like my reflection and sort of envisioning at the end of last year, conviction was the word that came out. And so the reason for it is, confidence means you want to know that something is going to work before you do it. And I think all business owners are in this place. They're like, I want to know that if I go and learn how to do this thing or this posting style or this email marketing, whatever, I want to know before I do it that the process I'm learning is going to work for me exactly. Right. And what it does is it makes people just sit and procrastinate because they'll start something and after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's not working. And they're like, oh, well, mate, I haven't got confidence in this, so I'm not going to do it. Conviction means you pick something. If it feels right, you just keep doing it. And you might not get any results for 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, a year, whatever. But you have the conviction to keep doing it anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. And of course, the name of my program is the Sales Confidence Lab. So now I'm thinking, should it be the Sales Conviction Lab? I'll work on that one. Something else I saw in a post which tickled me, and I'm an old guy with the brain or the sense of humor of a 14-year-old, and I saw the word listicle, and of course I immediately thought, oh, testicle, which is funny to me. What is a listicle, and why do you say steps are dead?
So yeah, listicles, they're like a classic thing from all kinds of social media, videos, whatever else. So your listicle is the format where it's like, okay, I'm going to show you the 5 ways to do this. Step 1, this. Step 2, this. Step 3, this. And on YouTube, they still work really, really well because it's a video format. But in text, it's like, if you tell me the 5 ways that I could improve my sales in a post, Jeff, in the nicest possible way, I can go and put all of my business information into Claude or ChatGPT and ask it the 5 best ways to improve my sales. And it's going to give me a far better answer than you can because it knows me, right? And it knows my business. What it can't do, if you write a post about your insights of doing something, physically going through the process of doing something, I can't get that from ChatGPT. So my point is, if you're posting, it should be insights and people learn from the insight, not from here's 5 ways to do this. Like,
gotcha.
That thing never sleeps. I can go there any time of day and ask it anything, So,
gotcha. Okay, so now I know what a listicle is, but I'm still going to giggle about it.
Yeah, it does sound like testicle. I'll give you that.
What are some of the first signs that your LinkedIn is killing your pipeline? Because some people can fill their pipeline with LinkedIn, but a lot of times they're just dying and they don't even realize it. What are some of the signs we should look for to know that LinkedIn is killing your pipeline?
Yeah. So if you're not getting anyone trying to connect with you other than people that are trying to sell you stuff, that's a big one. If the same people are the only people that are ever engaging or getting like commenting on your posts, like that's another sign. And if it feels like you're in that sort of, you're doing it, but you don't know why you're doing it, you've got no end goal, there's no reason for doing it. So for example, everything I do on any social is always to get an email address.
Say that again. Everything you do on social is
to get an email address. So if I start to notice I'm not getting as many email addresses, I'm like, okay, how do I get more email addresses? And I think a lot of people, they don't have that. It could be discovery call. It could be someone filling in my form. It could be whatever else, but they don't have that goal. So then they just go into social media and post things and send messages to people. And there's no overarching thing. And the symptoms of that are like, nothing happens really because you're not set an intention. You've not put a fence or a framework up to be able to work inside. So, and I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, and I know it's like the most popular thing ever to say I've got ADHD or whatever right now. So, but I do have a brain that likes to be stimulated by various different things. Like I like to try this thing and build this thing, and I'm going to build this community or whatever else. And I used to think that I had to stop that as a business owner. And it was only when I realized, okay, one question I ask before I do something, is this going to result in me getting more email addresses? And if the answer to that question is yes, it can be me making my silly, funny videos that I make and dressing up as my mum. But if it's going to get me more right? If it's going to get me more email addresses and I enjoy it and it gives me something to do, then I'm on it, right? But if it doesn't, then I don't do it.
Gotcha. I can't remember whether I got this from your email or you just shared it with me, but tell us about the Am I Forgettable tool, because I really like that.
Yeah, so this is one of the examples of what you can now do with AI agents, right? So I built that tool fully with an AI agent. And the idea of it is because we have so much AI content out there now and so many people are using it, how easy would it be for the internet to totally forget who you are and AI to take over from you, basically? So I built this tool where you go in, you put your name, your LinkedIn profile, and it starts with your profile, but it goes and scans the internet for your presence. So it finds all of your other socials, any blog you've got, anything else like that, comments, all this other stuff. And then it comes back and gives you a score of how easy it would be for the internet to forget who you are. And so far, people are enjoying it. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. It's got some of my humor and comedy in there. It's certainly harsh. Like it might bring a few tears out at the end, but it is one of those things where, you know, it's not it's just something that's quite fun, but also gives you a bit of insight. So yeah, I built it in about 4 hours earlier this week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just shows you what you can do. So if you're rolling with PDFs and thinking that it's going to get email addresses or clients through, it will, but it's not enough, because with my tool, they will use it, and then when they use it, it makes them remember something, you know, or makes them laugh. And if you can make someone laugh, it's almost as good as being, you know, super handsome or pretty or whatever, which unfortunately, you know, I'm not blessed with that, but I can be funny.
me either. And yes, that's why I was forced to become funny. In fact, tomorrow night I'll be doing a comedy at a club here on Long Island.
Nice.
Yes, I also don't have the looks. I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but I don't really understand what an AI agent is. I know what AI is and I use it, but I don't know what an agent is. So could you tell us what is an agent and how do you use AI agents to get 10 leads a week from LinkedIn? Or maybe you've already answered that with the app, but what is an agent and how do we use them?
Sure. Yeah. So the difference really is, like, if you imagine ChatGPT or Claude or all of the things you're using, it's a brain, right? So you're going to it with your hands and you're talking to it and you're getting ideas, content, landing pages, whatever, all of this stuff from it. And then you're having to go and take that and post it here or like build the website and put the copy on it. It doesn't have any hands. It's just a brain.
Okay.
An AI agent has the hands, right? So I can go in and I can say, hey, I want to build this website, and it can build the website, but it can also deploy the website. It can do like the DNS records in the background, and physically by API, which is just like the way it plugs into all these other systems, it can physically go and do that stuff for you. So for example, I just built an intake form for the Agency Killer, and usually you'd have like an onboarding form, right? And you'd have to go and get Zapier to send you an email when someone fills it in, and you'd have to build all these automations in the background. I didn't have to do any of that because I just told the agent, this is what we're going to do. And the agent built all of the forms, all of the website, all of the integrations. It even has an AI questioner that asks them deeper questions and tries to pull their brand out, and then puts all of that data into a Google Drive for me. So I can, and it enriches it by scraping the internet afterwards. And then I can just go into that intake call with all of this information and fill in the gaps, right? So that's what an agent is. It can do all of those things instead of you having to do them.
So if I'm hearing you right, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like I have a landing page for my program, the Sales Confidence Lab. My VA built it, said he could. I've fixed it, but I'm clearly no graphic designer, and I know the landing page is not great. Are you telling me an AI agent could create that page for me and actually make the changes, not just change this, do this, and then I have to do it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So where do you get the agent from? I've got ChatGPT. Where's the agent?
It's a good question. So what I use is it's a skin, and we might get a bit nerdy here. So it's a skin over Claude code, but you can plug in various other API AIs in the back end of it. And the one I use is called NLC. It comes from a guy that I've known really well for quite a few years here. And it's basically like, have you heard of OpenClaw?
OpenClaw? No.
So OpenClaw is like this new AI agent that they built that has all these connectivity capabilities. It's like the logic from that built into a custom Claude code session to give a front end where I can just type prompts and then it goes and does other stuff.
So I don't go. I use ChatGPT. So I don't go into ChatGPT and say, "Where's the agent?" An AI agent is something else you have to besides ChatGPT or beside. Okay.
It's a whole new world, but it is coming because the guy who created OpenClaw is now in bed with ChatGPT with OpenAI. So there will be stuff coming into the platform itself where you can start doing some of these things. And you might have noticed it already. I don't know if you ever use Claude, and I think ChatGPT does the same. But you remember you used to ask it a question and it would just give you an answer. Now it does steps. Yes. Right. So you ask it a question. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go and check this first. And now I'm going to check this. And then I'm going to check this. And it does more things.
Would you like me to do this? Would you like me to do that? Yeah.
That's agentic then, because it's going and checking stuff and doing stuff and whatever else. Now it can't connect to things because it's not built in. But what I have, I can literally connect to anything. I can open browsers. I can. And there's also a thing now called Claude Cowork, which sits on your desktop. It's like a desktop version of Claude. If you have a Claude account, you can use that for free. I have it go and use my programs on my computer. So like I have Dialpad, for example, for calling customers for one of my clients. So I get it to look at a spreadsheet, find the phone number, take my text message, personalize it, send the text message, go back and update the sheet. And I set it to go before I go to bed at night, because I'm in Vietnam, as you guys, like I said at the beginning. So that's US daytime. He's a US based client, and it just texts people all night for me through Dialpad. And then I wake up in the morning and it's like, people have messaged back, book calls. Yeah. So the future has arrived when it comes to that.
Yes. And it sounds like Jeff needs to figure out how to get an agent, because I spoke to somebody, a referral, who designs websites and landing pages the other day, because my landing page does suck and I know it. And she's going to come back with a proposal for me. And I suspect she's going to want like $15,000 or $20,000. And I'm guessing that an AI agent would be a little bit less expensive and may be able to do as good a job.
Yeah. And I mean, that's literally what I do for clients as well. So I build pages as part of my offer. So
you build agents for people. Oh, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I build agents and I build pages and the whole thing. So
gotcha. Yeah. You recently wrote an article titled "I Was Wrong About Who AI Comes For." Who is AI coming for, and what did you get wrong?
Yeah, a really good question, and it's something that hit me in one of my reflections. I try and think a lot about what's happened in a day and whatnot, and it's coming for the knowledge worker. And it kind of terrifies me as much as it excites me with the world of AI, because we're going to go through this transition period. So when I was a kid, my dad used to say, he was like a big gardener, right? So he used to grow lots of vegetables and fruit and stuff. And he used to bring in like the dinner, and it would always be meat and a couple of veg and stuff. Like, and anyway, he'd go, "Hey son, you know those carrots?" He's like, "They don't even know they're dead yet." Right? And that's what he used to tell me, because they'd just been dug out of the ground. And that's where we're at with a lot of industries right now. Like people are sleepwalking into something that they don't even know they're dead yet. So when I say knowledge workers, there's two sides of it. A lot of coaches are mostly information givers and accountability, right? A lot of them. So there's no real depth to a lot of coaches, the sort of middle average. All of those people are already going to be, they're already obsolete. They just don't know it yet, right? And then there's the second part of that, which is like, if you're a business of say $5 to $100 million, the business owner knows already that most of the higher and middle level management is not going to be needed pretty soon, because as I just said, right, we've got hands on AI now. It can do all of these things. So the problem, particularly in there, because with coaches it's different because they are business owners, so they have a bit of that on them. A lot of these people, they're used to working like a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Friday night comes around, they go out for a meal, maybe have a few beers, like they go and play golf at the weekends, take their kids horse riding, whatever else, right? They're so used to just being fed and doing a good job and being fed by this machine that what's going to happen is that they're going to start losing their jobs, and we're seeing it already. There's like thousands and thousands of jobs being lost already. Really hard to even get new jobs. Mm-hmm. But they'll think, oh, do you know what? It's just a blip. In 6 months, things will be fine. So they won't spend their weekends starting their own business and becoming their own thing. They won't learn about AI. They won't learn about agents. They'll just think this will change. Times are going to change back. And then after 6 months, things are going to get tight. And then it's, oh, maybe I'll only play golf once a month. You know, horse riding's going to have to stop. And then after that, like, they still don't get a job after a year. It's like, okay, we're going to have to sell the car, tighten our belts, get more in debt, whatever. And then it's like, what happens? People get really like social unrest, blame the government, blame big tech companies. And still by then it's too late to go and start learning it, go out on your own, right, become your own business. So that was what I wrote. And it sounds terrible, right? And I hope that after that, we end up in a position where humans can start digging into the deeper questions of like, why are we here? You know, what's the point of it? What's the universe the answer to? What question, right? All of that stuff. But in the interim, there's going to be like 5 years where governments aren't ready for this, people aren't ready for this, and what's going to happen, right? So that was what I meant, which is kind of really deep and philosophical. But...
Yes, it is. And of course, if you're a science fiction fan, you know that the answer to the universe is 42.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I thought you might get that one. Okay, good. Now, when I'm researching people to put these interviews together, I look for stuff that's going to be valuable to the audience, but I also look for stuff that tickles me. And I read one of your posts recently that did tickle me. You were recently delighted about a roof full of like a roof on top of a house of ruined towels. Why did that delight you? And how did your towels get on the roof?
I love this question as well. And it's again, it's content, right? Sometimes I just post random stuff that comes to mind.
It was great.
Yeah. So the way most houses work in Vietnam, like I live in a villa, and on the roof, there's like it's a whole tiled area where you can go, and there's plants and the washing machines up there and the water tank and all that stuff. So we do our washing on the roof. And when my mother-in-law was here, she must have helpfully gone and done a wash, but she doesn't use the dryer. Right. She's like Vietnamese, used to just hanging stuff out, like, you know, doing manual stuff. She doesn't use the dishwasher either, for example. She washes stuff by hand. So I don't trust that thing. I'm not going to use it. So she'd gone and hung up all the washing around the corner. And I was out there, like, this is 2 months after she was last here the other day. And obviously in Vietnam, it's like 35 degrees, so nearly in the 90s every day, close to 100. So these towels are like bleached and rock solid, and, you know, they're just like hard to get out. And as I was pulling them off, I was like super happy because I remembered the story of when I first went to university. My mum said, "Oh, take some towels with you, son." And I was like, "Oh, I'll take the old ones. I really love them because they dry you. They don't just move the water around like the new towels." She was like, "Yeah, sure, take them. I'll buy some new ones." And 4 days later, my dad phones me up raging, just like, "Next time you come home, make sure you bring some of those old towels." He's like, "I can stand these new ones. They just move the water around." He's like, "I'd start drying my head, and by the time I get to my arse, it's, you know, it's wetter than my head again." So that was the towel story. Yeah.
It tickled me because it was such a great story, and the timing was perfect because, like your father, and I think you, I don't like the new towels because they're too soft and they don't absorb water. I don't want a towel that's going to rub my skin off, but I like a rough towel that's going to absorb the water. And just last weekend, I went to the local mall to buy new towels because my old towels, which did absorb water, were kind of falling apart. You know, it gets to the point where, you know, where I'm rubbing them across my back and the towel's ripping, and I'm like, okay, it's time to buy some new towels. And boy, I spent a long time in Macy's, which is a store here, feeling all, no, that the water's going to run right out. Oh, that one's rough enough. Good. I did buy a bunch of them, and I'm already unhappy because they're not as rough as I hoped that they would be. I'm hoping that as I walk, I might need to lay them out on my roof maybe and get them crispy.
Maybe that's a post-COVID business opportunity, the rough towel company. Like, do you remember they used to stonewash jeans to make them look like, warm? Maybe there's like a stonewashed towel situation where they just hang them out to dry.
Or they cut the jeans to make them look like they've been wearing for forever. I've got a comedy friend who's a very good comedian, but he always wears these, jeans with like rips in them. And I always love to yell out from the audience, "Can't you afford some real jeans?" He always appreciates that. We all love to tease each other. Most people want more engagement on their posts, but you say engagement does not convert. Opinions do. What do you mean by that? Is that more of being you? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it is more of being you, and it's also looking at the wrong metrics. So most people, when they think about engagement, they think about likes and comments, right? So it's like, oh, how many comments did I get? How many likes did I get on that post? That's engagement. I want more of that. I've, in the past, used to get a lot more engagement than I get now, but there's two different metrics that matter much more. So if you ever click into LinkedIn, if you go into your analytics, it gives you like a list of stuff on each post. And there's two things on there. One of them is profile views, and one of them is followers. So you can see on every post who viewed your profile as a result of what you said and who followed you as a result of what you said and done. So those metrics are actually much more important than engagement, basically.
I see.
The other thing is that, so now a lot of people will reach out to me in my DMs that have never liked any of my posts. And never engaged on anything, because I say things that most people won't say. They're sort of a bit scared to like be in with me on it. They don't want to put their hand up and go, "Oh yeah, like I agree with you," and then people see it and they're like, "Oh look, they agree with it, and he said this thing that I wouldn't say or whatever." So, but they do then start to get into the inbox, and I never got inbound leads before. Probably even before January this year, ever. And now I get them like every week. People message me every week saying, "Hey, I love what you post. I really resonate with it. I'd love to find out more about what you do and how you help people." And I say, join my email list, or let's have a virtual coffee. So, and that I have way less engagement. Sometimes I did a post a few weeks ago. I think it had like 200 impressions, 2 likes, 2 people messaged me. Say, "I really resonated with what you posted. I'd love to get on a call with you and find out what you do." So it's counterintuitive, and it's easy for, like, imagine if I was a knowledge business and I said to you, "Hey, come on, guys, join my course. I'm going to show you how to get less likes and comments." You're going to be like, "What? Why would I want less like? I don't want to pay you for that." Yeah. So it's much easier for the big guys, the people that have already built their followings, and fair play to them because they started years and years ago. They've been in social for a long time. It's easier for them to sell, "I can get you more likes and comments." And it's easier to get more likes and comments because you just post that, like, saccharine rubbish that people are going to like and comment on.
So likes and comments feel good, but they don't really do anything for you. If somebody's going to follow you or goes to your profile to check you out, there's some interest there. There's something that's spurring them on.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to make people feel something. And if they feel, if they feel like they don't like you, that's better than nobody feeling anything at all.
Got it. Now you said something else that kind of blew my mind and goes against mostly what I teach salespeople, especially when it comes to email marketing. So, you can send out 1,000 emails at a time, generically, dear Jack, blah, 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 blah. And you can write an email that appeals hopefully to a large quantity of people. But my belief is I'd rather send out 20 personalized emails than 1,000 bland ones that are going to get no response. But you're saying personalization is dead. Explain that.
Yeah, again, it's a good question and another counterintuitive one. So the reason that personalization is dead, and I was referring to LinkedIn and to DMs specifically when I said that, is when you, probably emails actually though as well, if it's not like a newsletter, when you send someone one of these messages or emails, it's like, "Hey, I saw you do this thing. I noticed that you changed this job in 2020, whatever. Like, oh, I used to do this as well." They just assume you use ChatGPT to do it anyway. So the better thing to do is to give them something, like I said right at the very beginning. It kind of brings us full circle. Instead of going, hey, I noticed this thing about you and you do this, this, and this, and that's really amazing. Can you tell me more about it? Again, ask. Don't ask. And when I do that, the only thing I personalize on my messages or my emails is first name. That's it. Nothing else.
Got it. I keep checking the time. We're quickly running out, and I could talk to you all day. Let's use this one as the last question. What is a content pillar? I know what content is, but what's a content pillar, and why are you against content pillars?
Oh man, so it's used as an excuse a lot for why people don't write content. They're like, oh, I need these content pillars, and they become like the 5 things you always post about. So for example, for me, my content pillars could be lead generation, AI, marketing, LinkedIn, right? So I spend all this time writing these content pillars, and then I spend all this time figuring out all the topics I can talk about under each content pillar, and then I start like strategically going through each of these pillars to post about those things, right? That's what I mean. And it's a concept that works for big companies, for corporations, for even 50-person businesses. But if you're a personal brand, an expert-led business, it's going to be old, like out of date. Like it's like the dead internet, all of this stuff. And again, people can just go get that stuff from ChatGPT. So that's what I meant. And I think sometimes that's an important distinction, is a lot of people get marketing advice or sales advice that's meant for a totally different type of operation, and they apply it to themselves as a personal brand. Personal brand attention is, like Oscar Wilde, right? That's, that's attention is the currency. But it's how you get that and you manage that. So, yeah.
And it's certainly the currency today. There's no doubt about that. Jack, I could talk to you all day, and it sounds like I might need to be your client. But before we go, I'm going to share my screen. Would you tell people how can they reach you if they're interested in hearing more about what you do, or possibly doing business with you? And the people who can see this live right now or watching on the replay can see it, but this will get converted to a podcast. So please spell it out for people. How can they reach you?
Sure. Yeah. So the best way to get in touch with me is to send me an email at me@jackamaustin.com. So me as in Emmy. If you want to know more about who I am and what I do, then go to my LinkedIn. Again, it's Jack A.M. Austin. So easy enough to find. And then my newsletter, which you will find through my LinkedIn page, is on Beehive. So the best thing to do would be to go to my LinkedIn, and you'll see my tools there as well if you want to use those.
Got it. And for those who are listening, Jack A.M. Austin is JACKAMAUSTIN. Jack A.M. Austin. Find him on LinkedIn. Jack, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance so generously. I really appreciate it. And I will end as I always do. Gang, please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. Get out there and make sales happen. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend, Jack. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.